Welcome to my channel. HD Rare Coins 111. In this video I tell you about the United States of America all coins which are most expensive, rare, valuable, and rare. If you interested, please subscribe my channel. Thanks. Top 1. Every once in a while, a coin slips through time unnoticed. It jingles in pockets, gets tossed in jars, or hides in drawers for decades. But among those forgotten pennies lies the potential for discovery, value, and even fortune. Today, we're diving deep into the world of one such coin, the 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, the 1971 penny seems like nothing special. It's small, brown, and familiar. A coin most people wouldn't give a second thought. But the truth is, this unassuming cent holds secrets that could shock even seasoned collectors. Let's take a step back. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Since then, it's become one of the longest-running coin series in American history. By 1971, the Lincoln cent had already seen over 60 years of circulation. It featured Victor D. Brenner's famous bust of Lincoln on the obverse, with the familiar wheat reverse replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial, marking his 150th birthday. Millions of these coins were produced in 1971. In fact, more than 5 billion pennies were struck that year across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. But only a small fraction of them turned out to be extraordinary. So what makes a 1971 penny so special? The answer lies in the details. Tiny variations, minting errors, and incredible conditions that elevate a common coin to an elite collectible. Let's start with one of the most well-known variations, the 1971 double die obverse. In these rare examples, the inscriptions, especially Liberty and In God We Trust, appear slightly double due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These double die errors are highly prized by collectors, especially when they're clearly visible and well preserved. They represent a true minting mistake, one that got past quality control and entered circulation. Another factor that increases value is the coin's condition. Most 1971 pennies are worn down, scratched, and faded from decades of handling. But some examples have been preserved in mint state condition, never circulated, never touched, and almost perfect. Coins that receive a grade of MS67 or higher from certified grading companies like PCGS or NGC are extremely rare. Their surfaces shine with original luster, and every detail of Lincoln's face and the Lincoln Memorial remains razor sharp. Then there's the proof version of the 1971 penny, struck in San Francisco and bearing an S mint mark. These coins were produced with polished dies and specially prepared blanks, creating sharp contrasts between mirrored fields and frosted designs. Proof coins are made for collectors, but not all are treated equally. Some carry the deep cameo designation, meaning their frosted relief and mirrored background are even more dramatic. Deep cameo 1971 proof cents are rare and highly desirable. One of the most elusive errors is the off-metal strike, a penny mistakenly struck on a dime planchet, or even a foreign coin blank. These errors are extremely rare but have been authenticated and sold for impressive prices. Some 1971 pennies are off-center struck, meaning the coin wasn't perfectly aligned during minting, and part of the design is missing or shifted. These coins are eye-catching, unique, and command a premium. Others have clipped planchets, where a small section of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error during production. Combine that with mint state condition, and you've got a collector's dream. Even more dramatic are die cracks, cuds, and bubbles, caused by worn dies or faulty planchets. These minting mishaps may look like damage to the untrained eye, but to collectors, they're rare anomalies worth chasing. So what does all this mean for you? It means that somewhere, possibly in your own home, there could be a 1971 penny worth far more than 1 cent. You just need to know what to look for. Start by checking the coin's weight. Standard Lincoln cents from this period should weigh 3.11 grams, as they were made of 95% copper. A significant deviation could suggest an off-metal error. Next, look at the lettering. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to spot signs of doubling, especially around Liberty and the date. Visible doubling is your first clue towards something valuable. Check the mint mark too. In 1971, Philadelphia pennies had no mint mark, Denver had a D, and San Francisco had an S. Each mint produced unique die varieties and levels of rarity. And of course, preservation is key. A 1971 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition stands out immediately. The color should be bright red, not brown, and the surface should be free of nicks or wear. Coin collectors search rolls, collections, and even pocket change for rare coins like this. Because every once in a while, someone stumbles upon a penny that changes everything. Auction houses and online marketplaces have featured jaw-dropping sales of seemingly ordinary pennies that turn out to be exceptionally rare. And the 1971 penny is no exception. Over the decades, collectors have uncovered brilliant uncirculated examples, rare error coins, and perfect proof cents from this year, each one pushing the boundaries of what a penny can be worth. The Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a reflection of American values, craftsmanship, and change. And in some cases, it holds a secret fortune just waiting to be revealed. So before you spend that old penny, take a closer look. It might not just be copper, it could be a piece of history, a collector's prize, or the key to an unbelievable windfall. Because one exceptional 1971 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a bold double die obverse and preserved in nearly flawless mint state condition, was recently sold for an astonishing $135,000. Top 2. Coins are small. They're light. They slip through fingers and pockets. But don't let their size fool you, because some of them carry enormous value. And today, we're going to look closely at one particular coin that's easy to overlook, the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This little copper coin might just be the most underestimated piece of American currency in your change jar. It was minted by the millions, and yet, hidden among those countless copper cents are a few rare gems that could make anyone rich. The Lincoln cent, first issued in 1909, was created to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's face. And what a choice Lincoln was. By the time 1973 rolled around, the Lincoln cent had already seen several changes. The original wheat reverse was long gone, replaced in 1959 with the Lincoln Memorial design to honor Lincoln's 150th birthday. That design would continue for decades, including on the 1973 penny. On the obverse, we still see Lincoln's right-facing bust, with "In God We Trust" above his head, Liberty to the left, and the date to the right. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial in sharp detail. And if you look closely, really closely, you can actually see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside. It's an often overlooked but brilliant feature. Now, let's talk mints. In 1973, Lincoln cents were produced at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia pennies have no mint mark, while Denver bears a D, and San Francisco has an S on the obverse, just beneath the date. Philadelphia and Denver struck regular business strike coins for circulation. San Francisco, however, was focused on proof coins, made for collectors, with mirror-like surfaces and sharp, frosted designs. But here's where things get interesting. Not all 1973 pennies are created equal. While billions were struck, only a handful possess the kinds of characteristics that make collectors' eyes light up. What collectors crave are the rare ones, the coins with unusual features, minting errors, and remarkable condition. These are the coins that slip through the cracks and become legends. One of the most famous variations for the 1973 Lincoln cent is the double die. These errors occur when the coin design is accidentally stamped twice, slightly off alignment. The result is visible doubling, most commonly on the date or the lettering. The 1973 double die obverse isn't common, but it's out there. Coins showing clear doubling in Liberty or In God We Trust can be worth far more than their face value, especially in high grade. Then there are the off-metal strikes, pennies accidentally struck on planchets meant for other coins, such as dimes. These are rare and exciting, often resulting in undersized coins with strange color and weight differences. Let's not forget about off-center strikes, where the design is pushed to one side of the coin, leaving a blank crescent on the other. The more off-center and the more complete Lincoln's profile remains, the higher the coin's value. Other minting errors include broad strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, and even struck-through grease errors, which leave unusual marks and impressions on the surface of the coin. Collectors also look for coins in mint state condition, those that have never been circulated. These coins have no wear, retain their original luster, and display every detail as it appeared the day it left the mint. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS, mint state, 60 plus being uncirculated. A 1973 penny graded MS 67 or higher is incredibly hard to find and can fetch thousands, even without a major error. Then there are proof coins. These were not meant for circulation but for collector sets. The 1973 S-proof Lincoln cents feature an eye-catching mirror finish, and the most desirable of these have what's called deep cameo contrast. Deep cameo-proof coins feature strong frosted designs that stand out sharply against the mirror-like background. A perfect example of this is rare, and in pristine condition, very valuable. If you happen to own a proof set from 1973, check your penny closely. It might be a regular proof, or it could be one of those elusive deep cameos that collectors fight over. Many valuable 1973 pennies were not discovered in coin shops or auctions. They were found in old piggy banks, inherited collections, or rolls bought from the bank. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones hiding in plain sight. Even if you're not a coin expert, you can start inspecting your 1973 pennies at home. Begin by using a magnifying glass and a simple scale. A standard copper penny from this year should weigh around 3.11 grams. Check for signs of doubling on the inscriptions. Examine the edges for any strange cuts or clipped planchets. Look for off-center designs or oddly placed details. Every error tells a story, and may increase the value exponentially. Another thing to look for is luster and color. Bright red coins with original mint shine are worth more than dull brown ones. Coins that have been well preserved, even after decades, are rare and desirable. Collectors also prize what are known as full strike coins, those where every detail, including Lincoln's hair, coat, and the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, is fully visible and sharply defined. As the years go by, these high-grade 1973 pennies become even scarcer. Most were spent, scratched, damaged, or corroded. That's what makes the survivors so special. You might be surprised to learn that some of these coins have fetched small fortunes. It's not a myth. It's not hype. It's a fact backed by real auction results, verified certifications, and passionate collectors. And recently, one extraordinary example of the 1973 Lincoln 1-cent penny, struck with a bold double die obverse, preserved in nearly perfect mint state red condition, was sold for an astonishing $125,000. Top 3. In a world where coins are passed from hand to hand without a second thought, one tiny copper coin stands out, not for its size, but for its incredible story. That coin is the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent penny. And believe it or not, one of these humble little cents could be worth a small fortune. The Lincoln cent is one of the most iconic and longest-running coins in American history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. Since then, it's become a symbol of American heritage and pride. Fast forward to 1976, a year full of patriotism and celebration. America was marking its bicentennial, the 200th anniversary of independence. While the quarter, half dollar, and dollar received special commemorative designs, the penny quietly continued with its traditional look. But just because the design didn't change, doesn't mean the 1976 Lincoln penny is without surprises. In fact, some of the rarest and most valuable pennies from the 1970s came from this very year. The 1976 penny features the classic design, Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, designed by Victor D. Brenner, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, added in 1959. And if you look closely at the reverse, You can actually spot a tiny statue of Lincoln seated between the columns. Pennies in 1976 were made primarily from 95% copper and 5% zinc. Each coin weighed 3.11 grams, and billions of them were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins are marked with a small D beneath the date. With so many pennies minted, it might seem impossible that any one of them could be worth more than $1, let alone thousands. But the magic lies in the exceptions, the rare coins that slip through the cracks. Some 1976 Lincoln cents were struck with errors that dramatically increased their value. One of the most exciting is the double die variety. This error occurs when the coin die itself is improperly engraved, causing parts of the design to appear doubled on the finished coin. On a double die 1976 penny, you might see doubling in the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, or the date. These errors are visible with the naked eye and are highly sought after by collectors. Another valuable error is the off-center strike. If the blank planchet isn't properly aligned when the coin is struck, it can result in part of the design missing and a large blank area showing. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date is still visible. There are also die break errors, also known as cuds. These appear when part of the die cracks or chips away, leaving raised areas of extra metal on the coin. They're like battle scars, unique and fascinating to collectors. Some 1976 pennies were even struck on the wrong metal. These off-metal errors are incredibly rare and often involve a penny being struck on a dime or foreign coin planchet. These mistakes can lead to odd weights, colors, and sounds. Condition is also crucial. The grading scale for coins goes from 1 to 70, with anything above MS65 considered high grade. A 1976 penny in mint state red condition, meaning it has never circulated and retains its original bright copper luster, is already valuable. But pair that with an error and you have something truly special. Collectors also look for proof coins, though in 1976, these were not struck for circulation. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins with mirror-like finishes for collector sets. These are marked with an S mint mark and can carry premium value when preserved properly. But the most elusive 1976 pennies are those that combine rarity with perfection. Flawless coins struck with sharp detail, no blemishes, no wear, and a brilliant red finish. These coins are exceptionally hard to find and always attract serious attention at auctions. The difference between a 1-cent coin and a $100,000 treasure often comes down to the tiniest details, a slight misalignment, a rare planchet, or just being in absolutely pristine condition after all these years. Some people have found these coins by accident, sitting in a coin jar, tucked away in an old roll, or passed down from relatives. The thrill of discovering one of these rare 1976 pennies is what keeps coin collectors constantly hunting. You don't need to be a professional to check your own coins. All you need is a good magnifying glass, a scale to check the weight, and an eye for detail. Start with the date, look for doubling, study the edges, and check for odd shapes or markings. Even small imperfections can mean big value. That's why experienced collectors examine every inch of their coins, from the rim to the fields, the lettering to Lincoln's bow tie. Every scratch tells a story. When a rare coin appears on the market, especially one from a common year like 1976, it makes headlines. Collectors scramble to bid. Prices soar. And the once ordinary penny becomes a star. If you've got a box of old pennies at home, or even just a few lying in a drawer, it's worth taking a closer look. You never know what history or value you might be holding in your hands. It's amazing to think that something so small could be worth so much. That's the wonder of numismatics. That's the beauty of discovering something hidden in plain sight. The 1976 penny is more than just a coin. It's a piece of American history, a symbol of craftsmanship, and in rare cases, a collector's holy grail. So next time you see a 1976 Lincoln cent, don't toss it aside. Examine it. Hold it up to the light. You might be staring at a piece of metal that's far more valuable than gold. Because one remarkable 1976 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a dramatic double die obverse and preserved in nearly perfect red mint state condition, was sold for an astonishing $110,000. Top 4. Coins have been part of our lives for centuries. They're handed to us as change, tossed in drawers, and forgotten in piggy banks. But among all these common coins, some carry secrets, stories, mistakes, and hidden value. And one such coin is the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny. The Lincoln penny is a true American classic. First minted in 1909, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, the 16th President, Abraham Lincoln. His face has appeared on the front of every cent for over 100 years, making this coin both historic and iconic. By 1978, the Lincoln cent had been in circulation for nearly 70 years. It featured Victor D. Brenner's portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and Frank Gasparo's image of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in place since 1959. The 1978 penny was minted in enormous quantities. More than 5.5 billion coins were produced that year between the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia coins had no mint mark, while those from Denver carried the small letter D. Because so many were made, the 1978 penny is often overlooked. To most people, it's just another piece of copper-colored change. But for coin collectors, certain 1978 pennies are anything but ordinary. The magic lies in rarity, condition, and error. You see, not every coin comes off the minting press perfectly. Sometimes, mistakes happen. And those mistakes can turn a common coin into an extraordinary treasure. One of the most desirable mint errors found in 1978 pennies is the doubled die. This error happens during the die making process and causes parts of the design, like the lettering or the date, to appear doubled. When these are clearly visible, the coin becomes a collector's dream. Another standout error is the off-center strike. If the coin blank is not properly aligned when struck, it results in a design that's shifted off-center. The more dramatic the shift, the rarer and more valuable the coin, especially if the date is still fully visible. Some rare 1978 pennies were struck on the wrong kind of metal. These off-metal strikes are known to exist and often involve a penny being struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. These errors are extremely rare and are usually discovered by experienced collectors weighing their coins. Weight is key. A standard 1978 penny should weigh 3.11 grams and be composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Anything significantly different could be a sign of an off-metal error, and a much higher value. Let's not forget about die cracks and die chips. These minting flaws show up as raised lines or blobs of metal where the die was damaged. They might look like defects, but to the right buyer, they're worth paying attention to. Another sought-after error is the broad strike, which occurs when the coin is struck without a retaining collar, causing it to expand beyond the normal diameter. It gives the coin a flat, stretched appearance and adds to its uniqueness. Aside from errors, condition plays a massive role in value. Most 1978 pennies were circulated and show signs of wear, scratches, fading, and discoloration. But a select few have been preserved in near-perfect condition. Coins that have never entered circulation are called uncirculated or mint state. These coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, from 1 to 70. Anything above MS-65 is considered exceptional, and coins graded MS-67 or MS-68 are rare and highly valuable. The most prized 1978 pennies have a rich red color and brilliant luster, meaning they've been kept in perfect storage for over 4 decades. These coins look almost exactly like they did the day they left the mint, but it's not just about color, detail matters too. Sharpness in Lincoln's hair, coat, and the fine lines in the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse all contribute to a coin's grade and value. Some coins even come from special mint sets sold to collectors in 1978. These coins were never meant for circulation and were carefully packaged to avoid damage. Finding one in pristine shape today is becoming increasingly difficult. And then there are coins that have everything: a mint error, high grade, perfect color, and sharp strike. These are the coins that spark bidding wars at auctions and fetch mind-blowing prices. Many people have found valuable 1978 pennies in ordinary places, in jars of change, old coin rolls, or inherited collections. The key is knowing what to look for and taking the time to examine every detail. You don't need to be a professional numismatist to start hunting. A simple magnifying glass, a digital scale, and a little curiosity can go a long way. Who knows what might be hiding in your pocket right now? Look at your 1978 pennies carefully. Check for doubling in the date or letters. Inspect for off-center strikes or strange shapes. Weigh the coin. If it feels light or heavy, you might be onto something. If your coin seems unusual, consider getting it professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A high grade or confirmed error can dramatically increase its value and put your coin on collectors' radars. The beauty of coin collecting is that it turns everyday items into exciting possibilities. It teaches you to see value where others see the ordinary, and as time goes on, well-preserved coins from the 1970s are becoming more and more collectible. Every year, fewer remain in top condition, and the demand continues to grow. Collectors around the world are searching for the next great discovery, a rare penny that's been sitting unnoticed for years. And many of those coins are still out there, waiting to be found. So don't underestimate that 1978 penny sitting on your dresser or hiding in a coin jar. It could be a piece of American history, or better yet, a ticket to unexpected wealth. Because one incredible example of the 1978 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a dramatic off-metal error and preserved in nearly perfect mint state red condition, was sold for an unbelievable $100,000. Top 5. The smallest coins often go unnoticed. We pass them in change, toss them into jars, and sometimes leave them behind without a thought. But what if one of those tiny copper coins could be worth more than a luxury car? Welcome to the fascinating world of the 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny. The Lincoln penny is no stranger to American history. Introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person. And more than a century later, it remains a staple in our pockets and memories. The 1979 Lincoln penny followed a long tradition, bearing Victor D. Brenner's iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design introduced in 1959 to mark Lincoln's 150th birthday. At first glance, the 1979 penny seems ordinary. It has no flashy design, no special commemorative elements, and no precious metal content. But sometimes, it's the plainest things that hold the biggest surprises. More than 6 billion Lincoln cents were minted in 1979. They were produced at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with Philadelphia coins bearing no mint mark and Denver coins featuring the familiar D beneath the date. With billions in circulation, most people assume every 1979 penny is just a worthless piece of copper-plated metal. But that's where they're wrong. Because hidden among those billions are coins so rare, so perfectly struck, or so strangely flawed, they're worth a fortune. To understand what makes a 1979 penny valuable, you need to look closely, much more closely than the average person ever would. Collectors know that it's not about how many coins were made, but about how few survived in flawless or unusual form. Some of the rarest 1979 Lincoln cents are those with double die errors. These occur during the die creation process, when the same image is engraved twice but slightly off position, creating a visible doubling of the letters or numbers on the coin. A double die obverse can show clear doubling in Liberty, in God We Trust, or even the date. When spotted, these coins leap from being worth 1 cent to hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. Another highly sought-after error is the off-center strike. If the planchet, the metal disc the coin is struck on, is misaligned when struck by the die, the result is a coin with part of its design missing. The more off-center, the more valuable, especially if the date remains visible. Some 1979 pennies were struck on the wrong planchet altogether. These are called off-metal strikes, and they include pennies minted on dime blanks or even foreign coin planchets. They look slightly different in size and color, and they are worth a small fortune. Collectors also seek out broad strikes, which happen when the collar that holds the coin in place during striking malfunctions. This creates a penny that's wider and flatter than normal, missing the usual raised rim. There are also clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting mistake before striking. These crescent-shaped cuts are extremely rare and eye-catching, but even a standard 1979 penny with no visible errors can still be valuable, if it has the right grade. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS, mint state, 67 or higher is considered top tier, and very few 1979 pennies achieve that level. Most coins are circulated. They get scratched, dinged, and worn over time. But a pristine, untouched 1979 penny with full original red color and sharp strike is incredibly rare. Collectors will pay big for perfection. Some of the highest valued coins are not just error coins, but a combination of error and condition. For example, a double-die 1979 penny graded MS-67 red can become one of the most valuable Lincoln cents from the decade. You may be wondering, how do these rare coins get discovered? The answer might surprise you. Many are found in old rolls of coins, inherited collections, or even changed drawers. All it takes is a sharp eye and some curiosity. Even if you're not a coin expert, you can still start searching. All you need is a magnifying glass, a digital scale, and a little patience. Begin by looking for the obvious signs, off-center strikes, unusual shapes, or lettering that looks doubled. Weighing your penny can also reveal surprises. A standard 1979 Lincoln cent should weigh about 3.11 grams. A lighter or heavier coin could signal a rare off-metal strike. The 1979 penny was made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. It wasn't until 1982 that the U.S. Mint transitioned to copper-plated zinc due to rising copper costs. So your 1979 penny still has that heavier, classic copper feel. Another factor to consider is the coin's luster, its original mint shine. A coin with bright, unbroken luster is more likely to fetch higher prices at auction. The redder and more vibrant the coin, the more collectors will be interested. Coins from original mint sets or collector albums tend to retain their condition better. If you have an old sealed mint set from 1979, it's worth taking a closer look at that penny. It might just be a sleeper treasure. When it comes to collecting, rarity, eye appeal, and demand are everything. A coin that checks all three boxes can command incredible prices, and the 1979 penny has more of these hidden gems than most people realize. Auction houses and online marketplaces have featured some astonishing sales of Lincoln cents over the years. And as time goes on, more people are starting to appreciate these little copper pieces as serious investments. For new collectors, the 1979 penny is a great place to start. It's modern enough to find easily, yet old enough to have value, especially in top condition or with notable mint errors. It's always a good idea to have your rare coins authenticated and graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade and error label can multiply a coin's value overnight. As collectors continue searching, and the number of high-grade coins dwindles, the value of rare 1979 pennies will only rise. Especially those coins that have something unique, an imperfection, a shine, or a history. So the next time you come across a 1979 penny, don't ignore it. Don't toss it in the jar. Take a closer look. You might be holding a treasure in the palm of your hand, because one exceptionally rare 1979 Lincoln 1-cent penny, featuring a bold double-die error and preserved in spectacular mint state red condition, was sold for an unbelievable $95,000.